What would you do if the person you sacrificed everything for humiliated you in front of the world? I'm not talking about a minor disagreement or a stupid argument. I'm talking about years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, missed dreams, digging myself deeper into debt, all so someone else could have a shot at a better life. For me, that person was my brother. I raised him. I fought for him. I built my whole life around giving him chances I never had. And when it finally came time for him to walk across that graduation stage, a moment we were supposed to celebrate together, he acted like I didn't even exist. Not a seat saved, not a thank you whispered, not even a glance in my direction. He had everything because of me and treated me like a stranger in front of everyone who mattered. But here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't break you, it sharpens you. He thought he could humiliate me and walk away without consequence? Oh no. He had no idea who he was dealing with, because that was the moment I decided he was going to pay for it in ways he would never ever forget. Family isn't just about blood. Sometimes it's about who shows up when everything falls apart. Jason and I learned that lesson the hard way. When we were kids, life wasn't about soccer games or Christmas mornings. It was about surviving the next day, hoping the lights would stay on, hoping the fridge had something inside it. Our mom? She left when Jason was barely out of diapers. Our dad stuck around just long enough to teach us that anger was louder than love. And then he was gone too. We weren't orphans, not legally, but we were alone in every way that counted. By the time I turned 18, there was no one left to take care of us. No aunts, no uncles, no grandparents swooping in to save the day. Just me, barely an adult myself, staring down the terrifying reality that if I didn't step up, Jason would end up in the system. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have money. What I had was a promise I made to myself. Standing in that empty kitchen the night our dad disappeared for good. He's not going to suffer like I did, not if I can help it. So I became his second parent, his big brother, his legal guardian, his everything, all wrapped into one exhausted, determined human being. At first, I thought I could balance it all, work a little, study a little, raise Jason in between. Reality hit fast and brutal. Jobs don't wait for you to figure it out. Bills don't forgive you because you're trying your best. I picked up 2 jobs immediately, cashier by day, janitor by night. College dreams got shoved to the back of the line. I squeezed in night classes when I could, but mostly, I just survived. Sleep became a luxury. Days bled into nights, nights into years. While other kids my age posted selfies at concerts and vacations, I was budgeting down to the last penny. Birthday presents? Handmade. Christmas? A secondhand sweater, if we were lucky. And still, I never resented it, because every time I saw Jason smile, every time he brought home a good grade, every time he said, "Thanks, bro," it felt worth it. Then came high school. Jason was smart. Smarter than me, honestly. And when he started dreaming about college, about a future bigger than the neighborhood we grew up in, my heart ached with pride. There was no hesitation, no second guessing. When he said, "I want to be the first one in our family to graduate college," I told him, "You will. I'll make sure of it." And I meant it. I picked up extra shifts, worked weekends, said goodbye to any social life I might have had left. I canceled the only vacation I'd ever planned, a cheap bus trip to visit the Grand Canyon, because Jason needed tuition money. I sold my decent car and bought a beat-up, rusted thing that coughed and groaned every time I turned the key. Took out private loans in my name, loans with horrifying interest rates that kept me up at night. When there were nights I went to bed hungry, it wasn't a tragedy, it was a choice. One I made willingly. I wasn't just investing money, I was investing my whole life into his future. And I believed so deeply that it would be worth it. That one day I would sit proudly in the crowd, watch him walk across a stage in his cap and gown and think, we made it. Together. That dream kept me going when the exhaustion threatened to break me, when the debt collectors called, when my friends stopped inviting me places because I always said no. I thought, foolishly maybe, that love and loyalty were unbreakable, that if you gave someone everything, they would never forget where they came from, never forget who stood beside them when no one else would. But love, I learned, isn't always enough. Sacrifice isn't always remembered. And loyalty. Loyalty is a currency not everyone chooses to spend. Jason grew up. He got smarter, sharper, taller. He started making new friends, moving in bigger circles. I watched from the sidelines, cheering him on, blind to the distance growing between us, blind to the signs that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't planning on carrying me with him into his new life. I kept telling myself it didn't matter. That family was family, no matter how far apart life pulled you. That when the moment came, he would remember who got him there. But betrayal doesn't happen all at once. It sneaks in through the cracks. Quiet, unassuming, until one day, the whole foundation crumbles. And Jason? He didn't just let the cracks form, he kicked them wide open. I didn't know it yet, but the graduation day I had been dreaming about for years was about to become the stage for my greatest humiliation. Graduation day. The day I thought all the sacrifices would finally be worth it. The day I thought. He'd remember I woke up early that morning, buzzing with excitement, pressed my one nice suit, polished my scuffed dress shoes until they looked almost new. Today wasn't just his victory, it was ours. I pictured it so clearly. Jason walking across the stage, maybe giving me a quick smile from the podium, maybe even a hug after. A proud brother, front row, cheering until my voice cracked. I showed up early to get a good seat, held a small gift in my hands. Nothing fancy, just something meaningful. A framed photo of us from years ago, cracked edges and all. A reminder of everything we survived. When I spotted Jason in his cap and gown, my heart swelled. I waved, grinning like an idiot, but he barely glanced at me. No smile, no wave back. Maybe he was nervous, I told myself. Big day, big emotions. I shook it off, forcing myself to stay positive. The ceremony started. I clapped until my hands hurt when they called his name. Watched him shake hands with the dean, that huge diploma folder in his grip. Pride, so much pride, even through the weird growing knot in my stomach. Afterward, there was a luncheon Jason had arranged. A family celebration, he called it. I walked into the restaurant scanning for him. Found him all right, surrounded by his girlfriend, her family, her cousins, her cousins' cousins. Laughing, smiling, fitting in like he belonged there. I approached the long decorated table and stopped short. Every seat was filled, name cards carefully placed, places set with polished silverware and crystal glasses. But nowhere was there a seat for me. No name card, no chair, nothing. I hovered awkwardly, heart pounding, thinking, this has to be a mistake. He must have forgotten. I caught Jason's eye and moved closer, speaking low so no one else would hear. Hey man, where should I sit? He barely glanced at me, shrugged like I was a stranger asking for directions. I guess you can grab a spot at the bar or something, he said, tone casual, dismissive, like I wasn't the reason he was even here. The bar, after 4 years of sacrifice, after 2 jobs, sleepless nights, loans, missed birthdays, missed life. The bar. I swallowed hard, blinking fast to keep it together, laughed awkwardly, pretending it didn't gut me. I found a sticky stool at the far end of the bar, ordered a water I barely touched. From there I watched them, Jason and his new family, clinking glasses, laughing like a scene from a movie, posing for photos, making toasts. Toast to love and family and support. And I sat there invisible, not part of it, not even acknowledged. Then Jason stood to give a speech. He thanked his professors. He thanked his girlfriend's family for all their encouragement and belief. He even thanked his college roommates, joking about late-night study sessions. And me, not one word. I was the ghost at the celebration, the forgotten chapter, the discarded sacrifice, sitting there, fake smiling, clapping politely while inside. Something inside me shattered. It wasn't just betrayal. It wasn't just humiliation. It was realization. Realization that in his eyes, I wasn't family anymore. I was just the stepping stone he used to get where he wanted to go. And he wasn't even sorry. I left that luncheon with one thing burning inside me: rage, and a cold, unstoppable plan forming in my mind. That drive home, it wasn't just a drive. It was the funeral march for the last shred of loyalty I had left. I pulled out of the restaurant parking lot, hands stiff on the steering wheel. The sunset bled across the sky, warm and golden, the kind of evening that should have felt like a celebration. But inside I was hollow. The sounds of laughter and clinking glasses still rang in my ears. Not for me. Never for me. At first I just felt numb, an emptiness so deep it barely let me breathe. I thought about every night I stayed late at work so Jason could have textbooks. Every birthday I spent flipping burgers while he hung out with friends. Every rent check I mailed even when I didn't have enough to eat myself. And what did I get? A shrug, a seat at the bar, a ghost place at his biggest moment. The tears stung my eyes, but I blinked them away. I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles whitening. The sadness twisted, slow, sharp, until it morphed into something darker, something hotter. Rage. Not loud, screaming rage. Number the cold, quiet kind. The kind that doesn't burn out. The kind that builds. After everything, I whispered. After everything, this is how he repays me. I thought about Jason's smug little shrug. The way he leaned into his girlfriend's family like they were the ones who raised him, fed him, broke themselves to build him. He erased me, treated me like an afterthought, like trash. And right then, somewhere between the third and fourth red light, the sadness was gone. I wasn't sad anymore. I was done. Done being the martyr. Done letting people walk over me in the name of family. Done pretending sacrifice was always noble when all it got me was invisible. Jason thought he had won. Thought he could pocket the diploma, the future, the life I bought him, and tossed me aside like yesterday's news. But he forgot one tiny devastating detail. All that support, the tuition, the rent, the car in his driveway, it was never fully his. It was mine. On paper, on contract, on record. And if he wanted to treat me like I was nothing, then it was time he learned exactly what it felt like to lose everything. He had no idea who he was dealing with, but he was about to find out the hard way. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the storm inside me wasn't raging anymore. It was calm, cold, focused. I sat there in the car for a long time, engine ticking, staring out into nothing. Because that's the thing about betrayal. Once it breaks you, it remakes you. And somewhere between heartbreak and rage, something clicked into place. Jason thought he had outgrown me, thought he was free, but he had no idea. Because every shiny piece of his new life, the college diploma he waved around, the sleek apartment he bragged about, the car he drove to show off, all of it, still had my name stitched into its seams. I pulled out my worn leather folder from the glove compartment, flipped through the papers I had tucked away, gathering dust. First page, the tuition loan agreements, signed by me, co-signed by me. He couldn't have gotten into school without my signature. And guess what? He hadn't refinanced them. Not yet. Those thousands and thousands of dollars he owed, still tied to me. Second page, the apartment lease. When he moved off campus junior year, he needed a guarantor. No credit, no steady job. Guess who stepped up? Lease papers. My signature, bold and clear, right next to his. If anything went south, if a payment missed, they weren't chasing Jason. They were coming for me. Third page, car insurance. He needed wheels to get to his internship. Too many speeding tickets as a teenager to qualify for a good rate on his own. So we bundled it under my plan. Lower premium, safer driver on record, me. His car insurance, registration, even the title paperwork? Yep, still in my name. I sat back, folder resting on my lap, the weight of it sinking in. Every piece of his life. I whispered it out loud, feeling the words roll over me like a quiet tide. Every single piece. still had my name on it. He built his bright, shiny future on my credit, my sacrifice, my blind loyalty. He acted like he didn't need me anymore. But legally, practically, he was still mine. And if I wanted to, I could shatter that shiny future into a million irreparable pieces. With a few calls, a few signatures, a few clicks of a mouse. Jason thought he had replaced me, thought I was some pitiful relic from a chapter of his life he didn't need to remember. But he didn't just burn the bridge. He set fire to the very foundation he was still standing on. And the best part? He had no idea. No clue how fragile his little empire was. How easy it would be for it all to crumble. Fast, brutal, and very, very public. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to argue. I just needed to act. And trust me, after everything he'd done, I wasn't hesitating. Not this time. He wanted a life without me? Fine. I was about to give him exactly that and take everything else along with it. Revenge isn't about shouting. It's about precision, silence, watching everything fall apart without ever lifting your voice. I wasn't about to scream at Jason. I wasn't going to beg him to see me or guilt trip him into gratitude. I was going to disappear and take every safety net he didn't even know he was standing on. The next morning, before the sun was even up, I sat at my kitchen table with a mug of black coffee and a laptop. One by one, I started pulling the strings. First move, the tuition loans. I logged into the portal, heart hammering calmly against my ribs. I navigated to the loan servicing page, the auto debit feature that kept Jason's tuition installment plan running smoothly every month. Disable autopay, cancel future payments, one click. Done. Without me floating those payments, he was now responsible for the full monthly balance himself. And if he missed a payment, penalties, late fees, credit wreckage. Student loan debt is a nasty, sticky thing, and the wolves don't wait long to start circling. Next move, the apartment lease. I pulled up the email thread with Jason's landlord. When he signed the lease, they insisted on a guarantor, me, because he didn't meet the income requirements on his own. I drafted a short, clean message. Dear landlord, effective at the end of the current lease term, I will not be renewing my guarantor agreement for Jason's unit. Please consider this formal notice. I reread it once. No threats, no emotion. Just cold, professional detachment. Without my backing, Jason would need to requalify on his own to renew his lease. Proof of income, solid credit, references. Good luck. Third move, the car. Oh, the car! I opened the insurance app and reviewed the policy. Jason's vehicle was insured under my multi-driver plan to keep his premiums low. One quick call to the insurance company. Yes, I'd like to remove an additional driver effective immediately. The rep asked for confirmation. I gave it. Boom. Policy updated. Coverage gone. Without me, Jason's reckless teenage driving record would resurface. And without active insurance, he couldn't legally drive that car. Within 24 hours, 3 pillars of his adult life, school, shelter, transportation, were wobbling like a house of cards in a hurricane. And the best part? I didn't say a single word to him. No angry texts, no dramatic announcements, no warnings. Just silence. The slow, creeping kind that settles in when the ground starts crumbling beneath your feet. I pictured him waking up that morning, completely clueless, smiling, maybe grabbing coffee with his girlfriend, basking in his new chapter, completely unaware that the clock had started ticking and he was seconds away from a full-blown collapse. Because karma doesn't knock on the door. Jason thought graduation meant freedom, but in a few short days, he was about to learn what real consequences look like. It didn't happen all at once. No, it was slower, more brutal, like watching a perfect glass shatter, piece by piece. It started small, a missed tuition payment here, a nasty email from the student loan office there, late fees stacking up quietly in the background. At first, Jason brushed it off. He probably thought it was just a glitch, a technical hiccup, nothing to worry about. But glitches don't call you on the phone. Debt collectors do. And when they started ringing, he wasn't ready. Then came the letter taped to his apartment door. A bright, official notice in bold letters. Notice of non-renewal. Tenant must vacate premises within 30 days unless a new guarantor or proof of income is provided. Jason panicked. He didn't make enough on his part-time job to qualify solo. No solid credit history, no backup plan. Suddenly, that fancy downtown apartment he flexed on Instagram, not looking so secure anymore. I heard from a mutual friend, because of course, Jason didn't dare call me, that he tried to beg the landlord for an extension, tried to offer extra deposits, tried to negotiate, but without my signature on that dotted line, Jason was just another broke kid in a city that eats broke kids for breakfast. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, the car. Oh, the car. One afternoon, Jason parked outside his girlfriend's place, came out 2 hours later, and his car was gone. Towed, impounded. See, without valid insurance, your plates get flagged automatically. And when the cops spot it, they don't ask questions, they just haul it away. Imagine the look on his face. 1 minute riding high. The next, standing on the curb, no car, no clue what just hit him. And still he hadn't connected the dots. Still thought it was bad luck. A series of unfortunate events. But you and I know better, don't we? It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't a glitch. It was karma. Surgical, calculated, unstoppable karma. And Jason? He was just beginning to drown. But see, the best revenge isn't just about watching someone fall. It's about making sure they know exactly why they're falling and exactly who let them drop. When someone finally feels the weight of their own betrayal crushing them, you can hear it in their voice. And let me tell you, Jason's voice was cracking wide open. It was late, close to midnight. When my phone buzzed, Jason's name lit up the screen. I let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. Finally, curiosity got the better of me. I picked up. What I heard wasn't anger. It wasn't even arrogance anymore. It was pure, desperate panic. "Bro, I don't know what's happening. Everything's messed up." His voice was frantic, sharp with fear. He started unloading without even pausing for breath. His tuition account was frozen. His landlord was threatening eviction. His car, towed, fines stacking by the hour. His girlfriend? Yeah, she wasn't thrilled about dating a guy with no home or ride. And in between, his rambling? Accusations. Thin, gasping accusations. "You did something. I know you did. You're screwing with me, man." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cuss him out. I didn't even pretend to be confused. I just sat there for a second, letting the silence bleed through the line. Then, in the calmest voice I could muster, I said, "Funny. I thought I was just the guy sitting at the bar." Silence. Heavy. Embarrassed. Ugly. I could almost hear him shrinking on the other side of the call. Could picture him, mouth opening and closing, searching for some excuse, some weak little apology. But there was nothing he could say. Not when the truth was slapping him in the face. He hadn't just forgotten me at graduation. He had thrown me away, discarded me. And now? Now he wanted the lifeline back. Sorry, Jason. That lifeline was cut the moment you decided family was only useful when it paid your bills. He wanted forgiveness, but what he needed was a hard lesson. And trust me, I wasn't done teaching it yet. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's rebuilding your life so beautifully. The ones who tried to break you can't even look at you without feeling the sting. The day after Jason's meltdown call, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. For the first time since I was 18, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. No more bailing him out. No more putting his dreams ahead of my own. It was over. And you know what? I realized something even bigger. I had been saving up for Jason's graduation gift. A real gift. A fat check to help him start his life. A little nest egg to make things easier. Thousands of dollars sitting in a special account. But after everything, that money wasn't going to him anymore. It was going to me. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about it. Not even a little bit. So I did something I had always dreamed of. I booked myself a one-way ticket to Italy. Yeah, Italy. 2 glorious months of wandering cobblestone streets, eating pasta that tasted like heaven, standing in front of art that made me tear up without even knowing why. I stayed in little coastal towns where the air smelled like salt and sunshine. I laughed with strangers who felt more like family than my own blood ever had. I spent my days soaking in life instead of worrying about paying someone else's rent. For the first time in forever, every single moment belonged to me. No guilt, no pressure, no invisible chains around my neck. Meanwhile, Jason was back home, struggling, scrambling, facing the real world without a free ride. It wasn't about being petty. It wasn't about revenge anymore, honestly. It was about balance. For every hour I spent killing myself to carry him, for every dollar I gave up instead of building my own dreams, for every moment I stood invisible at that family table. Now I took that time back, that money back, that power back. And the crazy part, life got brighter. My smile got real again. The heavy tiredness I didn't even realize I was carrying finally lifted. I wasn't just living, I was winning. Because choosing yourself, after years of being someone's afterthought, is the ultimate power move. And if Jason ever thinks back on everything he lost, good. Let that memory sting, because I'll always be the guy who gave everything, until the day I decided to give everything to myself instead. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting them back in. Sometimes, it just means letting yourself walk away and never looking back. Family. It's supposed to mean loyalty, sacrifice, love that doesn't keep score. But what happens when you realize you've been playing by those rules and they've been playing a completely different game? For the longest time, I believed that loyalty meant staying, no matter how badly you were treated. I thought that sacrifice meant losing pieces of yourself just to see someone else win. I told myself, this is what family does. This is love. But standing alone at that bar while they toasted family without me, that was the moment I finally saw the truth. Family isn't just blood. It's respect. It's gratitude. It's reciprocity. Without that, it's just a one-way street straight to heartbreak. I spent years thinking I was doing the right thing, but the right thing for others should never cost you your entire soul. Walking away wasn't betrayal. Walking away was survival. Choosing myself wasn't selfish. It was necessary. And the freedom that came with it, that feeling of finally breathing after years underwater, no graduation speech could ever match that. But now I want to hear from you. Have you ever sacrificed everything for someone, only for them to betray you the moment they didn't need you anymore? If you were standing in my shoes, heartbroken, humiliated, and furious, what would you have done? Would you have given them another chance? Would you have confronted them? Or would you have chosen yourself too? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. If you felt that heartbreak, if you've ever fought your way back from betrayal, if you believe choosing yourself is the greatest revenge, smash that like button. Hit subscribe for more real, raw stories like this. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's still learning that they are enough all by themselves. Because at the end of the day, the ones who tried to break you, they don't get the last word. You do.